Hi everyone and welcome back. I hope you're doing well. It's September already and I hope you're enjoying the little sunshine we have left before fall comes. At least we've had some good weather here in Ireland where we are based, at least at the time of writing this. It's nice. So today we want to touch on a really horrible case, and it was a little bit hard to find any information about the 4 criminals today, but we tried to focus on the victims. Now personally, there's not a lot of things that upsets me, but something I can really not stand are people who take advantage of or kill animals, kids, old people, and people with type of disability. In today's case, we will be looking at the case of Tiffany Ann Cole, Michael James Jackson, Bruce Nixon, and Alan Wade, and the horrible murder of retired old couple Carol and Reggie Sumner. Let's start with some backstory on the lead lady in our story. Tiffany met Carol and Reggie Sumner. In South Carolina. The Summers were neighbors and friends with their father. She even bought a car from them before the neighbors moved. Tiffany is born on 3rd of December in 1981. At the time of the murders, she was only 18, just a child really. And it was mentioned by one of her lawyers that she had a difficult upbringing. She started running away from home at 12 and turned to drugs and prostitution. Michael James Jackson was 23 at the time, Bruce Nixon was 18, and his cousin Alan Wade was just 18. But I don't want to spend too much time on these people. Carol and Reggie were high school sweethearts, but as often happens, they went their separate ways and ended up marrying different people. In 2000, they got back in contact, and in 2001, they got married. Now, Reggie had a household in Jacksonville, Florida, and they decided to sell the house in South Carolina and move. They informed the young neighbor that if she even was Jacksonville, she had to come visit. One of the reasons of the move was Carol was bad liver cancer and Reggie was struggling with diabetes because of a broken ankle, and he also sometimes needed a wheelchair. So on a trip to make one of the final payments of the car, she brought her new boyfriend Michael there for a visit. They were invited in with open arms and they made up a bedroom so they could spend the night before they sat down with a cup of coffee. Now, as we all do when we have company over, you sit down and make conversation. The old couple had no issue sharing the details of the house they sold in South Carolina with the young couple. Let's not forget that Tiffany was only 18 at this stage and Michael was 23. They also mentioned that they had made about $90,000 on the sale. Now I wish I could tell you that this is the moment they decided to just hand over the money to the lazy piece of shits Tiffany, but as you all know, this is a true crime story. When they left the Summers, they started working out the details of their horrible plan, and I feel really sorry for the old couple as I know what is coming their way. Tiffany and Michael decided they needed help robbing them, so they called Bruce and Wade, 2 18-year-old cousins and a friend of Mike. The friend group used to drink and do drugs together. They went out and got 4 shovels, went and bought some duct tape, plastic wrap, and gloves. They went over to a country border to Georgia and dug a grave before they staked the house for a few days, just to observe the daily routine of the couple. On the afternoon in July 2005, 2 young men knocked on the door and asked if they could use the phone to call for help as their car would not start. And of course the Summers let them in and showed them to the phone. This was the beginning of the end for the couple. They beat them up and locked them in the trunk of their car. Then Tiffany and Michael came out of their hiding place and then robbed the house. They took jewelry and some old rare coins that Reggie collected. Then the 4 of them drove the 2 cars out to their little gravesite and beat up the couple until they gave them pins to all their bank cards. Then they threw them in the grave and started burying them alive. Michael James Jackson later mentioned in the interrogation with the police that he heard Carol moaning under the dirt after they had fully covered their bodies. Now I just want to mention his name. We have all pretended like we didn't notice the name Michael Jackson, but I have and I will continue to call him Michael James Jackson, or just Michael Jackson. I cannot bring myself to write Michael Jackson. Let's get back to the story. After the murder of the couple, the kids took the Lincoln Town car that the Summers owned and dumped it, drove back to the house and stole a computer, went on the shopping spree. Not only did they withdraw the money in the ATM several times, but they also ended up leaving a trail that the police could follow. On the 10th of July, Carol's daughter got worried that she couldn't get a hold of her mother and called the police. This led the police to check the house and their credit card usage. The police even called the old couple. But of course they were dead and could not answer, so Michael decided to answer the phone and pretend to be Reggie, and made Tiffany pretend to be Carol. They tried to tell the police that everything was fine. However, the police knew right away that they were not talking to the old retired couple. This was the way They tracked the kids through their shopping activities and arrested the 3 of them in a motel. The last one was picked up later on the 16th of July. Bruce led them to the bodies. Now at this stage, it gets a little messy as everyone blames everyone else. Tiffany claimed that Michael was the mastermind and he was forcing her to give up the Summers, and she was just an innocent victim, like the Summers. She also told the police that they were never supposed to kill them, but from all the planning and the facts that they even dug a fucking grave for them the day in advance tell us that this is just a lie. But the 3 of them did agree that Michael was the leader, but Tiffany was just as into it as the others. Now, lucky for us, the jury did not believe her. She was found guilty of 2 counts of murder, kidnapping and robbery, and sentenced to death during her week-long count trial. In October, during her trial, the jury only deliberated for 90 minutes before coming back to her guilty verdict for murder. Michael James Jackson and Alan Wade was also sentenced to death, but Bruce Nixon was given 45 years for pleading guilty to a lesser charge. I know we are at the end of the story, but I have more pieces of bad news. In 2017, her sentence was changed to life in prison. This is because for death sentence to be carried out, the jury needs to be unanimous, and this jury was not unanimous. This is also the reason that Alan Wade's sentence was changed to life in prison. On another note, Wade also had a baby while behind bars. The mother of the child does not want to mention how they conceived the child, but she started to write to him because she was against the death penalty. And they fell in love. She had now moved from France to the US to be closer to Wade. But let's end it here. Thank you all for listening to us and the story of the amazing couple Karen and Reggie Summers. Take care, and I hope to see you next time.